Alright, thanks for tuning in. Now just looking back at where I was, I've been thinking about it really past few days, and I can just see how things were starting to be pulled apart in my life. I was trying to get stability going in the church, and I guess I wasn't having it in the way that I was confused, because I'm reading scripture and searching it out in the Hebrew and searching out their way of thinking, and it wasn't matching up with the way the pastors and that were talking and what they were preaching about. Even though I was seeing things happen, miracles and stuff like that, And also, I only had, I guess, a couple sort of connections in there. My sister and her group who she was with, and Tom and James, who were still going there, and they'd invite me, would hang out, would invite me to go skating and do other stuff, or just normal things, get pizza, whatever, But Tom ended up getting the missus, my sister's marriage starting to fall apart, and James started going downhill too, and something I remember that happened at church. I remember one time someone, they call himself a prophet or whatever, praying for me with someone, and they start saying that they see this demon in me associated with sexual abuse, from when I was a kid, and I hadn't said nothing, to anyone about my life. I've hardly said even half these things that I've spoken about. And they're praying for me to be free, and to be honest, all I felt was like they woke something up in me that I've buried and hid since I was a kid, and if I could put it in regards, I'll just touch on it lightly, in regards to sexual abuse, they didn't hit a home run with me, if I could put it like that, but we're grooming their way there, like third base or whatever, but what can you do? It is what it is, and I guess isolation, rejection, slowly I start making mates out in the community. When I went back to work, I started becoming friends with these guys, a bad influence, done a couple of things with them, that were no good, and then I started meeting other locals, started thieving cars, and one day I was walking back. Basically now I'd stopped going to church, and I was walking back to this bloke John's house. There was like a bunch of cops out the front there, Oh no, they come in, that's right. I was asleep and they come in the morning. That's a different time I'm thinking of. They come in, raided the joint, and they found a couple, whatever, things in the garage, just number plates. Most of the stuff was gone. Took me to the police station. Cop put me on a promise saying he let me out. I wasn't going anywhere unless I spoke. Giving me a cigarette. They locked me up. Took me to Sunshine Cells. I kid you not, it was like a movie. It was my first time actually getting locked up. And I've walked in there, in Sunshine Cells. It was like a huddle of 15 people there, right? And as the sergeants walked me in, right, someone at the front of the huddle is like, "You're sleeping in his cell tonight." And then it's like this massive boob cat, like a prison poofter, right, walks out from the middle of the crowd out the front, stand there. And my first thought is like, I ain't sleeping, I'm gonna have to kill this guy, mate. What am I gonna do? Anyway, I actually smuggled a big joint in there, a couple grams. It was like 2.5, 3 inches long. But one of the guys I knew, right, because when I used to go share about my experience before, I guess I fell away from the church, there was this guy, Chris, that I met, and he had and he come to church and that a couple of times too, So I was surprised to see him in there, and he's probably shocked to see me in there as well. which he ended up killing himself. He had a really hard life. Like, he was really abused sexually, mentally, physically, every way you could think of, terribly, you know. And it's sad that, you know, I don't know, healing didn't come in his life when that opportunity was there, you know. So anyway, we're going on the other side of the cells, and there's about 3-4 of us smoking this joint that I smuggled in, and happened to be a couple of Serbian guys in there, and they're like, you know, you're with us, we'll look after you. You know, they were a little bit older, and they only had like a little table there, so whenever breakfast, lunch, dinner come in, all the food would get put on the table. It was only enough for 3 of us to sit on, and they would go through, pick whatever they wanted, even a couple extra meals, and that's it. They were basically standing over other people. No one done anything, you know, like, so obviously these guys were connected, and I was just happy, you know, it's my first time in jail, these guys are looking after me. Grouse. Like, I'm getting extra meals and stuff, and it's like 7 days later I got out, and I remember I went and scored some heroin, and I'm on the train ride heading back to Hoppers Crossing, and I'm like a bit down. I'm like, oh, that's pretty crap, you know, like, wasn't too happy with that. And I'm chewing chewy, and I'm like bursting bubbles with the chewy, and some guy comes on the train, he starts having a go at me. Like, it was an empty train, there was only 3 of us in that carriage, and like, he's a bit of a unit, like an Aussie rules footy player, and he keeps having a go at me for like 10-15 minutes. He's like, have a listen to this horse, you know, clip clopping and all this crap. And I just shut my mouth for like 5 minutes. He's going, and then he ends up going, if my younger brother was here, he'd rip off your head and crap down your throat. Well, mate, don't worry about your younger brother, do something yourself, mate, if you got the dash, you know. So he gets up and he comes straight for me, and I had a big puffy jacket on, and I just, as he come for me to push me, it's like I've just shrugged the jacket off, and I put my hands like this and just headbutted him as he's going to push me, and I just give him a couple uppercuts, kneed him in the mouth, and yeah, it was all over, and he's like, oh jeez, stronger than I thought or something, he said. The other bloke stepped in, not that he had to, it was all over, and still it even got worse. By the time I got to Hoppers, I went to the servo, and it was closed, the doors were closed, so I knocked on the door, wanting to go get a pack of cigarettes, and then the guy comes, opens it, and he's like, oh, I'm not going to serve you. I'm like, what do you mean you're not going to serve me? You know, like, can I get a pack of smokes? He's like, no, you knocked on the door. I'm like, well, the doors didn't open. You know, I'm not a freaking mind reader. What's going on? No, I'm not going to serve you. That's all right, mate. I'll serve myself. And I started walking around the counter. I was just going to grab the whole lot and slap him. You know, I had a thing about slapping people, I guess, too. But he's like, stopped begging. No, please, all right, here, here's the money, see you later. Don't be an idiot next time, mate, you know. And then I went back and found out these wankers that I was doing the cars and that with, after I got raided, they come and stole stuff that I had stashed, and even left their tag inside the garage. And yeah, put it this way, I'll give one just a couple love taps, you know, and then the other one moved, you know, because he knows he's a slimy rat. So, and I was after him, I was going to his house a few times, air raiding, calling him out, you know, and he's a bit of a known, you know, whatever, cream in this sort of scene of things, you know, but really then he was a slimy rat, you know, sneaky rat, you know. Which I won't drop his name, but if you ever hear this, you know you are, so bad luck. Or you were, you know, maybe you grew up here, I don't know. But yeah, that was my first experience in the cells, which was, yeah, adventurous, to say the least.